On the heels of this historic shakeup, we are bringing in Governor Greg Abbott to discuss the potential implications right here in our state.
All right, Governor, thank you so much for joining us. Your reaction to Vice President Harris's endorsement from President Biden was to say that we need more reinforcements at the border. This as border crossings are actually the lowest they've been since the fall of 2020. Do you anticipate Kamala Harris being softer on border policy than Biden was?
Oh, yeah. Listen, she has been the border czar for the United States. And as it concerns what's going on the border, our fellow Texans have suffered because of it and are angry about it, as well as our fellow Americans. As you know, it's either Biden inflation or the Biden open border that are the number one and number two policies and issues in this presidential race. Kamala Harris does not change that at all. In fact, she is even more responsible for the open border policy because she has been or supposed to have been the border czar and completely failed at it. As a result, it was Texas actually that stepped up because of the measures that I have taken. Border crossings in Texas have dropped 74% while they have gone up in New Mexico, Arizona, and California.
Okay, Governor, when you spoke at the Republican National Convention, the crowd chanted, "Send them back," and there were also some signs calling for mass deportation. Is that something that you support, sir? And if so, how would those deportations work, including who would actually be targeted in that?
Sure. So one thing that's happened under the Biden administration is an record number of illegal immigrants crossing the border, but also an extraordinary number of rapists, murderers, and even known terrorists. And importantly, the known terrorists are those who are apprehended. The terrorists pay more to the cartels to not be apprehended. So we have a problem in this country about extraordinary danger. And I believe that what the president will do first is to go after all of the criminal illegal immigrants who have committed crimes either in countries they fled from or committed crime in the United States of America, and make sure they get either arrested and put in jail or get deported back to the country they came from.
And turning now, sir, to the aftermath of Hurricane Beryl, which left millions without power in southeast Texas. Governor, you asked CenterPoint Energy to drop a plan for the rest of hurricane season and deliver it to you by next Wednesday, July 31st. That plan includes actions to reduce the likelihood of future power outages. The question, sir, why didn't the state demand those things before this hurricane season?
So the demands have been in place before this, and there were response plans that all power companies had to provide. And from what I've heard, CenterPoint has been behind the ball as it concerns their response plan. Know this, there were many other power companies that had to deal with this hurricane. It was really only CenterPoint that was behind the ball. There's a couple of things that I identified that really showed that it looked like what CenterPoint was doing. They were trying to save money. Let me give you a couple of examples. They did not pre-position people days in advance like they should have to be able to more swiftly to respond to this. The second thing that they already admitted, they were responsible for vegetation removal to make sure that when trees are falling or bushes are falling because of high winds, it would not bring down power lines. They have spent on a per customer basis one of the lowest amounts for vegetation reduction. That's unacceptable. The number one thing that will stop those lines from coming down is removing that vegetation.
Okay, and Governor, staying in that same vein, what legislative change will you make a priority for the next session to really ensure the Texas coast is more resilient in the face of a future Category 4, even a Cat 5 hurricane?
So a lot of the answers to that very question came in a more than 100-page book that I put together along with the Chancellor of Texas A&M in response to Hurricane Harvey. In the aftermath of Hurricane Harvey and in the aftermath of Winter Storm Uri, there's been enormous strides that have been made with regard to resiliency to weather conditions. That's why the Texas Power Grid now has the capability of providing more power than California and New York combined, and we will be increasing that power by 50% between now and 2030. Same thing goes with regard to both wind and water resiliency along the entire coast about measures and instructions that were developed in the aftermath of Hurricane Harvey. It's a matter of making sure that all of the local governments as well as the power companies implement the measures that were recommended in that booklet or that were already signed into law by myself.
Governor, we have you for about a minute or two more. I want to switch gears to back to school season just on the horizon. The House Public Education Committee interim hearing is set for August 12th. How have you been working with the Education Committee, sir, to set the stage for education savings accounts?
So obviously working with some legislators is also working with the Texas Education Agency. And because of what happened in the primaries, it looks like we have the votes to ensure that we will pass education savings accounts. But importantly, we will be working to improve our public schools, our charter schools, as well as the school choice program to make sure that every child is going to have access to the highest quality education, and the content of that education is going to be better content so that our kids are really learning what they need to be able to learn to make sure they're going to be able to go to a good paying job or go on to a 2 or 4 year college.
Okay, Governor Greg Abbott, thank you so much for your time this afternoon.